So I'm going to be talking about the national curriculum. The first slide is about the background of it. So the national curriculum is set by the government and it states how the schools around the country should be teaching the pupils, and it also is there to make sure that all the children receive a high standard of education and learning to make them develop their skills a lot further. Scotland's national curriculum is different to England's, as it runs differently with the way that they run their country. The background of our national curriculum changed as they looked into it and they could see that other countries around England were having a lot higher grades and pass rates than us, and this was due to the fact that England was very strict with how they would let pupils do the work and the coursework, and the deadlines weren't as flexible, so this then impacted their grades. So England looked into changing it and seeing how they can improve it to boost those grades up. So this obviously then had an impact on the pupils' performance, so the deadlines were made a lot more flexible so that the pupils could work towards aiming for a higher grade and getting more out of that subject. This then obviously slimmed the national curriculum right down and made it a lot harder. The next slide is the aims and objectives of the national curriculum. So some of the aims of them is to introduce pupils to essential knowledge and what is needed to be a good citizen within the world. And the next one is to raise awareness of their achievement and their creativity of where they can go in life. Their objectives are things like to maintain standards throughout the schools and colleges and keep the national curriculum to a wide range of areas, so this broadens their knowledge. It also likes to prepare the pupils for the world of work, so when they leave school they can get into that working environment, which is totally different because they have to become more independent. It promotes spiritual and cultural and mental and physical aspects, so it introduces them to a wide range of people and personalities and the kind of things that they're going to be looking into. And it also gives them different scenarios in which they might come across during their life. The next slide is the roles and responsibilities of the agencies that work alongside the national curriculum. So the first agency is the Standards Testing Agency. The roles and responsibilities of this agency is things like they look at the delivery and the development of all statutory assessments throughout the key stages through school. They also ensure the departments are using their resources effectively and making the most out of the resources that they've got to improve their teaching. They also make sure that the ministers are aware of the pupils' performance and their progress. The second agency is the National College for Teaching and Leadership. These roles and responsibilities are slightly different as they look more into improving quality of the workforce, so the teachers' working environment. They promote a new generation of leaders, so they like to bring in new people and have younger, fresher minds which have new ideas. And they also support schools with becoming more independent and having more of a say in how they want to run their school and what's the best way they can do that. The next two slides are going to be about the key stages which go through school. So key stage 1 is obviously at the beginning of a pupil's first school life, so they're about 3 to 5 years old. And the kind of things that they will be learning at school are things like motor skills, promoting healthy lifestyle, encouraging physical activity, and an example of this would be like putting on mini races and having beanie bags and balls out, getting them to learn those motor skills of throwing and catching. The next key stage is key stage 2, which these children are about 6 to 11 years old. So the 6 to 11-year-olds would be things like broadening their range of motor skills. So the ones that they learnt when they were younger, this is just developing them more into a more competitive situation and getting them to become more complex. And use it within a game purpose. So an example of this would be like PE within a school, so like they have gym or netball or something like that. The final two key stages are key stage 3 and 4. So key stage 3 is like a child who ranges between 11 and 14-year-olds. The kind of things that they will be learning at school is to like use those previous skills that they learned in primary school in a more competitive situation, and it encourages them to become more confident and aware of their surroundings within a school environment. They can learn specific techniques as well, so those techniques that they learned when they were little, like kicking a ball, will then be more focused on a certain sport like football or something like that. So the range of PE sessions within this kind of school would be a lot higher, so things like hockey, netball, and just a more competitive environment. Key Stage 4 is the last part of high school, so it's like 14 to 16-year-olds. This again is making them become more competitive within life and aiming to achieve higher. And they learn the physical side of sport is a lot more demanding if they want to take it further. Like, it requires a lot more training and effort put in. And they also look into like a future of how sport can become a career or something that they want to do once they leave. So an example of this would be becoming part of teams for the schools, like a hockey team or something like that, or becoming like playing for their county. And that's the end of the presentation on the national curriculum.